I'm here with artist Todd Dezago, if you're Mark Wade. And tell us a little bit about some of your early works and comics.
I'm not the artist, I'm the writer.
Oh, excuse me, the writer.
Sorry.
My apologies.
I knew you were trying to get the joke in.
Yeah, I was trying to get the joke in and it threw me off.
But I've been writing comics since 1994. I started out on X Factor, which is a crazy place to walk right in off the street.
Now, whereabouts in X Factor did you come in?
Issue 105.
That was with Havoc taking over?
Yeah. Okay. Just after Mark DeMatteis left. Mark is over there at the table, and he kind of handed the reins over to me and said, go forth and be fruitful. I was on there for about a year, but in the meantime, the Spider-Man artist grabbed me and asked me if I would like to write some Spider-Man, which I did.
Now, how hard was it to write for Strong Guy on X-Men?
Strong Guy was my favorite character.
Was he really?
Oh yeah, he always had some humor to him. He was really a tragic character because he was always in pain, but he always wore a smile to keep things going. So I could relate to that on some levels. Just like Spider-Man, I think that a lot of the really popular characters are what we would call losers.
A spider clone. Spider clone.
Yeah. We've all had moments where we've been the last person picked for basketball. We've been that person who everybody kind of pokes fun at and does that. I think those characters are very relatable. I think when Stan Lee created Spider-Man, that was the real allure of Spider-Man. He was a teenager, but he had all the same problems that every teenager has, which is fitting in and maybe not fitting in.
So it would be kind of the next evolution of that with X Factor, with Strong Guy.
And Strong Guy would, the next step into that was that here's this guy who's big, poke fun at him for his physical look, but he was also a kinetic energy storm. He was a battery, really. He would take the kinetic energy, but because his muscles were always under that pressure, he was in constant pain. And that he was able to smile and make the best of his situation. I like that. That's rising above.
And I think one of your longest runs was basically doing Spider-Man for as many years as you did.
Spider-Man for a long time in one incarnation or another. I was really glad to be able to switch over and start doing the kids' books when the regular comics got a little grittier, more adult, and the stories became a little more, I don't want to say psychological, they just became more adult-driven and not as much lighthearted. There weren't as many lighthearted moments.
Well, I mean, I think that was one of the biggest things in the 90s is that, the market was so aimed at the adults that, when we were growing up, it was, you're aimed at the kids.
Right.
And then those kids turned into the adults, so they were still targeting them without really looking at what the next group of readers is going to be, going to bring in.
So I was able to do the Marvel Adventure Spider-Man for years, which was more of the stories that we read when we were kids that were more fun.
Spidey Super stories.
Right.
Yeah.
Fun stuff, lighthearted stuff, where Spider-Man wasn't always, how am I going to pay the rent? I mean, that's classic Spider-Man fodder. But there were also moments where he actually got a break, and he had fun, and he was able to have fun and quip and make. When he puts on the Spider-Man costume, he's supposed to be free. It releases Spider-Man to be able to say and do whatever he wants to do. Peter Parker is who he's stuck as, but when he puts on the costume, he's somebody else. He doesn't have to deal with all the things that go wrong in Peter Parker's life.
What would you say would be one of your highlights of your writing Spider-Man?
Well, the Clone Saga is funny because back in the day, while it was going on, I think everybody's heard the story that it was the marketing department at Marvel who came and said, keep this Clone Saga going, and the editors listened. And so we just, as the writers, Mark and Howard Mackey and Tom Conroy, we kept saying, no, it's going too long. You can't keep doing this. They just kept dragging it on and on and on. What's funny is that as much as we thought it was a huge stain on the Spider-Man mythos, it is now one of the more popular stories because the kids who were 12, 13, and 14 reading it are now adults who love it. They grew up with it. They love it.
I know one of our guys on the website, Spider Ben, is his nickname. He absolutely adores anything Spider-Man. And that's, I think, one of his big things is the Clone Saga.
It was a little irritating for us from time to time, but it was also I look back, I think we all did the best we could with what we were being driven toward. We weren't the driving force all the time. We tried, and then in the end, with Ralph Macchio as the editor, we were able to be released from all that marketing junk.
Kind of came in and pulled in on the reins.
He fixed things for us. We needed something. But during the Clone Saga, we had one issue that everybody tells me is one of their favorite, and it was just a page, really, that I did with Michael Ringo on Sensational Spider-Man. And it was a flashback story where we were supposed to tell a story of Spider-Man at least 6 months before he became Spider-Man. They did it across the board at Marvel, so the Fantastic Four didn't have their powers. No one had powers, and we told the story of young Peter, probably 11 or 12 years old, going on a fishing trip with Uncle Ben. And they run into all the old ones, Kirby and Stan.
So just one final announcement. I want to thank everybody for coming out to the Comic-Con. It was another great show. We're going to end things at 4:30. So if viewers want to start wrapping up, our next tentative date is April 22nd, 2012. So again, thanks for coming out.
We'll think about editing.
We'll see you next spring. Have a great one. Thank you.
So in that flashback story, Uncle Ben tries to confront Peter about his friends, and it's too bad your friends weren't able to come along. And Peter says, "Yeah, that's too bad." Uncle Ben knows that Peter doesn't have any friends. Peter's trying to keep his Uncle Ben from knowing because he cares about him, and it ends up being a very bittersweet moment that a lot of people have pointed out that it was just a really nice scene, a nice part of the story.
What do you got going for the future here? What's coming up?
I am working on I've been working on some motion comics, which may or may not see the light of day. I don't know.
Okay.
We were working very hard on I'm working with Brett Blevins, who's an awesome artist, working on a steampunk project for this company. And in the meantime, Craig and I started doing a Perhapanauts motion comic featuring our cryptozoological team. And I've also started working on a Tellus motion comic with my former Superhero Squad artist, Leon Castellani. But I don't know what's going to happen, but they definitely will show up in print at some point.
Awesome.
And then I will be working with the people at Disney now who are working on the Marvel characters for kids.
Now,
so I'm really excited about it.
Has that really kind of increased your workload now that Disney bought out Marvel? Or?
Not at Marvel. Okay. Marvel is still doing things, but it looks like Disney is really going to focus on the kids. That's kind of where I would like to focus also, to be able to take the next generation of readers and show them what's so special about the superheroes.
We look forward to that. Todd, thank you very much.
Great talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.